Hi and welcome. Today I have a mixed media Rolodex card, memory dex card, whatever your words for it are. I cut my cards on my Cricut just because the paper in the card, it's vintage on mine anyways, is so bad. So, but if that's what you've got, try it and just use what you've got. But I do cut mine out of Bristol Smooth paper, and I think you can buy a punch that will punch the holes for a Rolodex, so you can check into that. I never used one, so I can't really speak to that. I'm adding some kitsch flamingo through a stencil. I'll have it listed in the description. And I'm using kitsch flamingo because I'm going to be using kitsch flamingo as my background color. So anything that doesn't, like if it's too dry, it doesn't actually take the embossing powder, that's going to be okay because I'm just going to be going over it with kitsch flamingo anyways. And you can do that, with whatever color. If you're using a glaze, you can use the same color that your glaze is. So I'm using my embossing heat tool to melt the embossing powder, and I'm sorry, I'm just a little off frame there. But basically, I'm just melting it, and it goes pretty quickly if you hold it up in the air, because the hot air can go through the paper that way and helps. And I'm using platinum. That's the color I'm using. I didn't want to use gold because my digital downloads that I'm going to use, it didn't have any gold in them, so I opted for platinum. So there you can see how it's nice and shiny and melted. And I'm going to add my kitsch flamingo. And I'm not really careful about it covering the whole thing because I kind of want a randomness to it. I'm going to add a little bit of vintage photo just to the edges. The leaves itself that I'm going to use have a little bit of white in them. That's why I really don't care if there's some of the white sticking and showing through. So the leaves are digital downloads. The rest is not. I do use a Tim Holtz number list and then a sticker from the Clippings sticker book. Now this one, I normally have a bunch of the ephemera sticking off the page, but in this case it's sticking off a little bit but not much, and I think maybe I need to have a little bit of both to where not every one of them is going to be sticking off the page. So this is the number list from Tim Holtz, and I'm putting that down first because that will go in the background. And I was just looking at my final piece here, and I noticed that it got a little askew when I was gluing it down. I couldn't tell at the angle I was sitting to the piece that it was just a little off. And oh well. That's how it is when you're doing art. If perfection's gonna bother you, then I don't know, it's gonna be harder for you. I don't really, I mean, there's a point. It's like, oh, that's terrible, and I fix it. But I'm not gonna rip that thing off because it will ruin what's behind. It's got glue on it. So if I thought I could rip it off without doing anything, I might try it, but it's not really bothering me that much. So I'm thinking of like little blowing leaves. Yesterday was the first day of fall. I know it's not going to be that when this posts, but even though these are not fall leaves, that inspired me to do something just with kind of windblown or falling leaves, like they're just blowing across the page. So I'm not using that book. And so we're putting that one back in there. So that's the one I'm using. I'm using the clippings book just because I like the base colors. They're more of a neutral background. Some of them are even pink, and I think the one I grab is kind of got a pinkish background, and it says remind me of the happiness. And that is the last of it. I hope you enjoyed it. These are just quick. A lot of times I use these just to get me, if I'm like not sure what I'm going to do, they get me in a more art mindset. And so it gets me started. I might start with a piece like this before I move on to something else. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed, I invite you to do that. If you like this piece, give me a thumbs up or a comment. I've got some final pictures coming up, so stay tuned for those. Either way, I hope you have an awesome day, and I will see you next time.